lads, Christian the Haver Card Man from Fusion YGO back at you with another duel today. This time I'm actually doing a remote duel with my buddy from the deck, and we're having a little bit of some Burning Abyss versus my scrap deck today. And of course we did win the die roll and opted to go second, as is per usual for my scrap deck. It just works way better that way. So he's going to start off with BA combo here, special summoning 2 of them from hand with their own effect. But of course, they're obviously not going to destroy themselves because they're both BA monsters. So he's actually just going to use them to go ahead and overlay straight into Dante turn 1 here. Just wants to get that mill right off the bat. I don't think he didn't have Seer or Graph, at least that he special summoned off of those two. It looks like he's hoping to mill those off the top of his deck here. But he at least got the Dante established, and that is ultimately what matters here. So he's not really caring too much about either of those BA's graveyard effects, given that, you know, he special summoned them from hand, so they can't activate their other effect. So we're going to detach 1 right now, opting to try to mill 3, just waiting to see if I have any responses. I do not, as I am a going second deck with no hand traps. Now this was actually currently before the modified version of my deck that did play hand traps. So we're going to see a Torrential Tribute, a BA Monster, and a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast off the top of the deck here. And I believe that was the Graph that he sent to the graveyard here. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the BA names too well here. But he is going to opt to activate its effect to special summon from deck, which means he's now going to fetch either the Seer or the Graph. Like I said, I don't remember which is which. I just remember that both are used, especially in Phantom Knights combos all the time. But he's going to go to that special summon from deck here. Got it on the field next to his Dante. Doing a quick shuffle up here. All right, now he's going to link the 2 together, it looks like, in order to be able to make... Kind of hard to see with the glare here, but I think that was the Cherubini, if I remember right. Oh, no, that is... an IP Masquerena. Okay, that's right. Yep, because now he's going to use the Seer to be able to summon back the Dante to the field, and then also add back to his hand with the Dante effect, getting the Dante loop. Then he's actually going to pitch that monster to the graveyard that he just added back to get his Beatrice on field and get that established. Very, very nice play, because that means just during his turn he can get a free dump, and then immediately link off that... link off his Beatrice and whatever other monster he just special summoned with the IP until a link 4. He can go into a Unicorn, whatever. He's got a couple of back row set, and he is, I believe, just going to pass on that. Just kind of looking through his place here, make sure he's not missing anything, and there is a pass. All right, so we're going to top deck for turn. And let's see how we start off here. I don't quite remember, but I know this was the Dino build, so it's very likely that I started off with a Dino play. All right. Okay, just kind of thinking of my moves here, and I was correct. I used a Dogoran. That's kind of a Dino play. It's a Dogoran. It's a Dinosaur Kaiju. So we're gonna Kaiju away that IP Masquerena. He can have his Beatrice dump all he wants. I just don't want him to be able to link summon into something potentially powerful here. So just gonna put that in the center monster zone. Not a big deal here. It doesn't really matter where it goes, because we're just gonna get rid of it anyways. Gonna activate Scrapyard for the follow-up. He's debating on whether or not to activate, and he is actually going to slap down the Imperial Order in response to the Scrapyard. And I think basically at this point, I was just kind of out of plays. I didn't really have a way to out that Imperial Order. I did not already have combo in hand. That was just a case of a one of like entirely shutting me down, which is very, very unfortunate. I think I still like try to do something here. Okay, so I'm going to summon the Jizukiru. Since he has a Dogoran on field, I'm going to get it to my side. So 3,300 versus 2,800 is pretty good, if I do say so myself. He's actually going to opt to activate the Beatrice effect here on resolution of the summon, which is totally fair. Just wants to get his resources in play now before he worries about his Beatrice being trampled over. All right, so he's going to send from deck to grave, activate some effects here. He actually sends Backjack, I believe, and at this point he's going to try to... he's going to use its effect to excavate. I'm going to give him a second here to shuffle. And apologies for the glare and whatnot. Our setups were kind of impromptu, so we didn't have time to like perfect them completely. So, all right, there goes the deck mix up, and now he's going to do Backjack effect. It looks like. Yep, going to banish a monster. He's actually, yep, there goes the excavate to get them in the order that he wants, so he can make sure that he's got a trap on top and have that place set up for when he gets his chance. All right, so he's actually just going to activate the Backjack now to banish itself and excavate or get the top card, which is a trap card. Get that set to his field. Just absolutely beautiful play. Gotta love Trap VA. It's actually going to be the Phoenix Wind Blast again. So he's actually going to activate its effect now to discard a card from his hand and bounce stuff to mine. Or no, put it on. He's going to spin it to the top of my deck. That's right. So he's ditching. I think that was a tour guide. And he's actually going to end up spinning the Dogoran, I believe. Yep, to the top of the deck. Just so he knows that I brick. Kind of an interesting play there. I'm surprised he didn't decide to send my Jizukiru back. But at the same time, I guess that would have just put an even bigger Kaiju into my hand. So I don't know. It was kind of an iffy play. I think he really just wanted to get the monster out of his hand more than anything here, which will help him out a lot since he is a graveyard reliant deck. So it does actually kind of make sense. All right, just doing a shuffle up here. I'm kind of debating on my plays, trying to figure out what I can do at this point with that Imperial Order being on the field. That kind of hurts. Given that I'm pretty sure I have like at least 2 spell cards in my hand right now. So I think I had 1 monster, and it's a baby Sarasaurus. So like it's not really all that optimal. I don't really have any plays to go with here. Unfortunately, since the IO, because I believe the other card we had in hand, we had a Lost World, and it looked like a Fossil Dig or a Scrapyard. Kind of hard to tell. So looks like I'm just going to go Battle Phase and attack over the Beatrice. And I believe I set the Baby Saurus in pass, if I remember right. Okay, so this Beatrice is going to summon out the Dante Fusion monster. Totally fair. Because, of course, everything in BA floats, which does prevent a little bit of a problem for my deck, but that's okay. Yes, so we're just going to set the Baby Sarasaurus and pass turn. So, yeah, that was a Scrapyard and a Lost World were the last cards in my hand. Not really going to be able to do anything with that IO on field, so... Alright, so there goes the Dante effect it looked like to send the graph. Alright, looks like he's going to top deck for turn. Going to start looking at his graveyard, figuring out resources. He's going to get the Dante loop back up again. So, I mean, of course, why not, you know? It's just it's a great resource game. And I believe I let him go for a few plays here before I eventually just kind of scoop because I realized I don't really have much of anything. I'm really sitting on this Jizukiru right now and hoping like that's enough for me to be able to survive for a minute. But of course, I do know that he does have a back row there still available, which could be exactly enough to get rid of the only threat that I have on field right now. So let's just go ahead and see here. Just kind of thinking on his plays at the moment, making sure that he can play as correctly as possible here, trying to make sure that he can get over my 3,300 body plus my set monster that he has no information about. And at this point, he actually, I don't think he currently knows that I am on the Dino build. The only dinosaur he's seen so far has been the Dogoran, and that's just a Kaiju. So it's not really anything like too suspect. All right, so there's going to be the tour guide hitting the field here. Going to go to search from deck, start getting some more BA loops. Oh, yes, and he did pay the 700 for Imperial Order, so he is now down to 7,300. Sorry about the phone. I just kept that as a tracker for myself for editing so that I didn't forget to update that. So, all right, looks like I think that was the Livich that he just summoned from deck there because I'm pretty sure he had a BA monster in hand that he wanted to free out. Or I could be wrong. It's once again, it's kind of hard to tell, especially when I don't, like, fully know the BA cards all that well. But doesn't matter. He's just going to go straight for the Cherubini. And I believe this is how he finds his out to the Jizukiru. Is he's just going to use the Cherubini to, if I remember right, send the Farfa from the deck to graveyard to just banish my Jizukiru until, I believe, the end phase. But we will see here. So, yep, sending for Cherubini cost. Oh, never mind. It looks like he is summoning. Okay, so he must have sent the Seer then, I believe, or the Graph. Sorry. Once again, I am not familiar entirely with BA. I know it's been out for years, but I just came back in 2019, so don't judge me. All right, so just getting his place here. Looks like I think he's trying to set up for Link Bodies here, so there's going to be another Link 2, which is going to put him into the Nightmare Phoenix. Okay. So yeah, I actually don't have any back row right now. I think he just wanted to have the body and be able to clear some stuff off his field here. So he has Link 4 materials now, but yeah, I think he wanted graveyard effects. So that is totally fair. Getting another add back here. Now he's activating the Cherubini effect. Okay, that was my mistake. He was using the other BA effect earlier. But I believe that time he must have sent Farfa, and he's thinking about which one to banish. I'm pretty sure he knows just to go for the Jizukiru, but I cannot 100% remember. Let us just see here. Okay, so there's actually another BA monster touching down. That probably should have blown itself up, I believe, given that it was not in Cherubini's zone, but you know what, I will opt to let it pass. Because it's a negligible thing. It literally would have just been zone placement. So there goes the Nightmare Unicorn touching down. He's actually going to discard a Fiend Griefing and activate Nightmare Unicorn's effect. He's actually also going to get some more graveyard effects, which is great. So he's actually going to send my baby Ceratosaurus back to the deck here, which allows me to shuffle up so I don't have to worry about bricking on that Dogoran again, which is great. Now he's actually going to link for 4 here. I believe this is where he goes for the Access Code Boy. And that is how he gets over my field. Yep, so he's got an Access Code Talker. He's going to target his Unicorn, making it a 5,300 body that is able to at least get a single pop. And that's where I see that touchdown, and I'm like, yeah, I have no way to survive this. So that is completely your game there, bud. Like, I kind of think on it for a second here. I'm debating whether or not to try it. Like, the Imperial Order Access Code is just too strong. So we're going to go ahead and scoop it up game 1, go into siding, and we will be right back. All right, and we are back now. We did finish siding here. I'm going to grab our hand really quick. And I do believe that we opted to go second after losing game 1. Let me double check here, because we could be wrong on that. Correction, no, actually, I think we opted to go first because we wanted to get in before the trap cards, before he started really establishing resources. We're just kind of debating on plays here. It looks like we're going to activate the miscellaneous source right off the bat, just because we don't want to worry about any of our dinosaur effects getting hurt. And then we're actually going to follow it up by just immediately banishing the Misk from our graveyard to search and summon the Animadorn Archosaur to get our plays off the ground, which will get us not only into dino plays, but of course get us straight into scrap plays as well, which is just absolutely insane. So we're going to summon the Animadorn Archosaur here. After we shuffle the deck, we are going to activate its effect to destroy a dinosaur in our hand. I'm just double checking here to make sure that I do the effect correctly. And we are actually going to pop, I believe, the baby Ceratosaurus that we have in hand here. Oh, no, correction. We're actually going to normal summon the Chimera because we didn't have a dinosaur to pop. So we just wanted the bodies. So we're actually going to Chimera and normal summon, and then we're going to special summon the Orthros, popping the Chimera. And this will actually get us into our combo at least somewhat, because now we can just link those 2 bodies off straight into the Scrap Wyvern and have plays. Really just kind of praying that there's no hand traps to worry about here to the best that we can. I did forget to set a card first, unfortunately. Either that or I didn't have a card to set. So we're going to activate the Scrap Wyvern to summon back the Orthros. Going to go ahead and pop it to get Chainlink 1 Wyvern and Chainlink 2 Orthros to be able to add the Chimera back to our hand. And then search our deck with the Wyvern to get out a Golem and then pop a card on the field. Unfortunately, since we are going second, we don't have any cards set on our field. We are basically going to be forced to pop our Wyvern. YT here just showing off his ultimate rare. Oh boy, what was that? Anyways, I forget the card name. Satellarknight, there we go. He's showing off one of his Satellarknight ultimate rares. I don't know why the name just completely slipped my head here. So I think I'm actually kind of debating on my plays because I was thinking about going into the Raptor instead of the Golem, but I kind of realized no, there's not really any reason to go for that per se. I could get into a Synchro 8, but it would just give me a Scrap Dragon. I figured at that point I'd much rather just have the Scrap Twin Dragon because it is stronger and can do a little bit more on the follow-up. So just I'm thinking here, and now I'm actually trying to find the Golem because I was really thinking about the Raptor at first, and I'm like, well, no. And then of course the Golem had to be all the way at the back. So I believe I actually opened one in hand, unfortunately. But yep, so we're gonna go ahead and pop the Wyvern here. Accidentally drop an Ulti Conductor. Thankfully, YT did not see that, so he did not know. Of course, I mean, if you see Dino stuff, you're going to expect the Ulti Conductor to be in the main, so. Alright, Golem is going to touch down here and settle, and then we're going to use him to summon back the Orthros and basically just go for a Synchro 9 play. Unfortunately, we did not have Shen in the deck. That would have been really powerful against this matchup, I honestly think. But we were not fortunate enough for that. So we're going to go ahead and Synchro for 9 here and go into the Scrap Twin Dragon. And yes, that is an ultimate rare because we are just balling. Then again, I think I only got it for $30, so it's not that impressive for an ultimate rare. But hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. Having cheap ultimate rares is never a bad thing. And I think we actually, yeah, we just pass on that because we literally had nothing else to do other than establish a Scrap Twin Dragon. Hope that at most it gets outed and we still have resources on the follow-up. So YT just kind of asking about the card here, just making sure he knows what it does. Explaining both card effects here to pop one of my cards, bounce to his, and then also its floating effect. So, all right. I'm just reading it to make sure that I didn't misread anything or get it word for word so that he knows exactly what's up, just to make sure that we're both on the same page. All right, so he's already looking at his extra deck. That's already a bad sign because that means he has plays. He's just trying to figure out what order to do them in here. So he's going to kind of hard to tell. I think he normal summoned a BA here, and then he's actually going to special summon another one, it looks like. Once again, with the glare, it's kind of hard to tell what he's doing here. That almost looks like a Farfa, but once again, it's hard to tell. So he's going to link summon on the Cherubini right off the bat. He really wants to have that established and ready to go, and that'll allow him to get stuff from deck here. He's got a lot of things going on here. So he's got a couple of graveyard effects. There goes, I believe, the Graph. Actually, no, I think that one is the Seer. Yeah, okay, no, I'm kind of remembering the card now. Yeah, so there's the Seer on field. He's going to activate the Cherubini effect now to be able to send... So once again, with the glare, it is really hard. So please forgive me for kind of messing some of these up here. Okay. I can't tell. I think that one is the Libich, because he's still got a few cards left in hand, so it makes sense if he still had a BA name left in hand to special summon. We will find out here in just a moment. Yep, okay, it was the Libich, so he's special summoning another BA from hand, getting more resources in play. He's got Link 4 and materials now, but I think he actually is going to go for Dante first, which totally makes sense, because that'll just get him more resources in play here anyways. No, actually, I was incorrect. He's going to go into the Nightmare Unicorn first. Wow, actually big variant play. So that must have not been a BA that he summoned from hand. I think it was just a Fiend. But he's gonna Nightmare Unicorn, discard the Dark Ruler no more, and shuffle my Scrap Twin Dragon back into the extra deck. Very unfortunate, so we don't get the floating effect, which does kind of suck. But he's gonna summon back the Cherubini as well off of. I believe that must have been the Seer then. All right, so he's got quite a few bodies on field here. He honestly could just go into an access code and punch for near the game, because I think the Cherubini, if I remember right, gains attack points. I actually don't know on that one. Okay, maybe, yeah, target one burning abyss monster on the field gains attack. Okay, yeah. So he could have potentially gained enough attack here to actually have gone for game this turn. All right, we're going to see him going back into his deck here, looking to get some more resources, which is totally fair. Once again, I think he really actually... Oh, no, because he sent the Cherubini into the graveyard, so it wouldn't have kept the attack bonus. That is totally fair. So he's actually... there he goes. So he's going to go for Link 4. Yep, there is going to come down the access code talker. So that is a 5,300 access code talker and a 500 attack point Cherubini. So he's going to be able to hit for a total of 5,800, leaving me alive at least a little bit, which is good. All right, gonna get my life points adjusted there. Yeah, which like I said, yep, should leave me with 2,200 left. So not overall too bad. He doesn't really have much else for follow-up. He's gonna go main phase 2, set a couple of back row, and I believe just pass it right on over to us. All right, kind of looking at his graveyard here, making sure he's not missing any effects. I think he does have an end phase Scarm to activate. Maybe not. Nope, he does not. Okay, so it's going to come back to our turn. We do have a follow-up with the Chimera, but we're going to first Cosmic Cyclone, just blinding one of those. Get rid of that middle back row here, which was actually very lucky, because that was, I believe, a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which would have been very hurtful to us, putting us down to 1,200, but we are planning to OTK this turn, so it's not too big of a worry. All we have to deal with now is just one back row, because honestly, the two monsters are not even an issue in the slightest for us here. So we're going to Gnome Summon the Scrap Chimera, and I don't believe he actually has any disruption. I was actually really happy to hear that he was upset about me getting rid of the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. So there comes out the Orthros. We are going to basically just go into the Scrap Wyvern now, number 2. So we do have it. I think I had more stuff in hand that I was kind of like debating on, but that's okay. So yeah, we're just going to go straight into the Scrap Wyvern here, and he has stuff on his field to pop now, so we are actually feeling pretty good about that. So we're going to activate the Scrap Wyvern effect now, once again, summoning back out the Orthros, and then just popping it to add back to our hand. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm pretty sure I had the second Fridge in hand, so we're not going to be able to get another Golem from the deck, which is unfortunate, but we're going to do our Chainlinks again. Chainlink 1 Wyvern, Chainlink 2 Orthros, add the Chimera back to hand, and now we will go to the deck and be able to special summon out a Raptor, which is actually a perfectly fine play in this case for not being able to use the Golem. And then for Wyvern's second pop, we're actually going to pop the other back row just so we know we don't have any disruption to play through. His hand is empty, his back row is empty, and nothing on his field is able to disrupt us at this point. So basically, we are just completely allowed to go off uninhibited and with no worries. So kind of just thinking through my plays here. I know that I have the Chimera in hand, and it's actually not a once per turn on its effect revive, so we're going to pop the Scrap Raptor, actually, which will allow us to go into the deck, and I believe we're going to add the... so we don't have a Scrap Factory in the main, which is fine. because we already have a Chimera, so it doesn't matter. Just making sure he doesn't have anything to activate here on the Raptor. So we're going to opt to get a different target. We basically wanted to just have the extra resource. We didn't like necessarily need to pop the Raptor for the search. It's just a fat matter of we already had it, so might as well get it. So we're going to search for the Scrap Searcher. Kind of funny, but we actually don't need it here. Our big play is literally just going for the Chimera into getting the Raptor back or the Orthros and making some plays that way. I think we actually end up going back for the Scrap Twin since he sent it back to the extra deck, and then just end up getting rid of both of his monsters by popping our Scrap Wyvern. So just let's see the play here just to make sure that I don't mistake that a little bit here. Internet decided to not be liking us there for a second. So we do have an extra Scrap Normal Summon. Really just thinking of the play. I think I was double checking Chimera's text to make sure that I was right on the fact that he's not a once return effect. So there goes the Chimera touching down. And actually just realizing now that I could not, in fact, go for a Scrap Twin Dragon because that is only 8 levels. So maybe I went for a normal Scrap Dragon, but I kind of doubt it. So let's just see what I go over here. I'm looking at the extra deck. I'm kind of thinking through some plays here. Not really 100% sure which way to go. Potentially I have an extender in my hand, but I don't think so. Kind of just sitting here thinking for a second. Gonna go back into the extra deck here. Just really thinking hard about this play. Honestly, I could have totally gone for the Moral Sword. I wouldn't have been able to attack twice, but at least I could have gotten over that access code and dealt 3k, but not quite sure. So we're actually, oh, that's right, we go for the Underworld Goddess, which is fair, because we link off the access code with it, and then we are actually going to be able to just go straight into the battle phase and attack over the Cherubini. In hindsight, I almost wish I had used the Raptor to search for the second Chimera, so I had another follow-up play, but I think it actually totally worked out fine, because, yeah, the game state was actually really simplified, and we didn't have too hard of a problem here, so just going to sit on an Underworld Goddess pass, because I know a lot of his stuff, some of his stuff doesn't target, so that does kind of help us. It's Underworld Goddess can only be hit with stuff that can target her, which is just funny. And also it's a Graveyard Negate, so it's really good against BA. So he's actually just going to set one monster and pass. That was his top deck for the turn, just probably a BA body that he had nothing else to do with, unfortunately. So we're going to normal summon these Soul Eating Overraptor, so that's right. I did have the follow-up play. That's why I didn't worry too much about searching for the Overraptor, which means we are now going to use the Overraptor to go ahead and get a baby from our deck to our hand here. Actually, we're just going to send that straight to Graveyard. I know exactly why, because we already actually had the Ultimate Conductor in the hand. Which is just absolutely big brain. It didn't really matter what dinosaur we sent. We just sent one that we didn't really care too much about, so that if for some reason we did not end the game this turn, then we had at least a little bit of something to go with. So we're going to banish the baby, and we're going to banish the Archosaur to go ahead and summon the Ulti Conductor straight from hand here. I believe now we're going to go battle phase, and we're just going to use the Ulti Conductor to send that defense position monster to the graveyard, inflicting 1,000 damage. And then we still have 4,800 damage on board here with our Underworld Goddess and our Soul Eating Overraptor, which is just absolutely insane. So we're going to be able to go ahead and attack for game. He's actually going to try to use his Backjack here, which is totally fair. Trying to find some last-ditch efforts to go ahead and save his life here, excavating off the top. And then I think he does actually whiff, if I remember right. Maybe not here. No, he's going to banish the Backjack, maybe? He's kind of thinking on it. He's thinking on it. I don't know if he actually has one. Oh, that's right, because if it's not a trap card, it just gets sent to graveyard. So it synergizes with BA nonetheless. Alright, so he's actually going to let me attack here. I'm going to attack with the Overraptor for 1,800. That's going to go through. And then I'm just like, well, do you have any way to stop my last attack here? Because that is 3k to the face. And once he kind of realized that his math wasn't lining up previously, but he does Backjack here. He just shows me what his top deck was, and it was actually an evenly matched that he was going to get off of that Backjack, which if he had survived the battle phase, that would have been deadly, seeing as I would have been forced to keep my Underworld Goddess, as she is unaffected by card effects that do not target her, so she would have been the only one I would have been able to keep, which, I mean, is not bad, but it's still not the optimal play. So yep, gonna close it up for game 2 here, and go into game 3. We'll be right back with you guys after sighting. And we are back now, both of us just getting our hands ready to go here. YT is going to be going first for game 3 because, of course, he wants to get those traps established as soon as physically possible, which totally makes sense. So it looks like he's actually just going to activate D-Shifter right off the bat. Not really caring too much about his own plays, just going to set 2 back row and pass. He's going to make me play into the D-Shifter because he knows that I need the graveyard almost just as much as he does here. So that is actually going to shut off my plays really hard for an entire turn. I don't know if I really did anything thing here. I think I might have set one, and then, yep, I'm just going to set one and pass. And if I do remember correctly, that set was actually just a scrap searcher. So set one and pass, D-shifter is no longer in effect. Still dealing with 2 back row, but no monster presence yet, so we don't have to worry too much about getting into pressure. BA is not really known for dealing all that much damage. He's actually just going to set a monster and pass, meaning that our plays are totally just free for us. So we are actually going to go ahead and activate the fossil dig right off the bat here, see if he has a response. He does not. He's totally going to let us just straight up search for it. And let's see what we end up getting into here. So we are actually going to go for the misc right off the back. So we just want to make sure that our stuff is unaffected from any of that back row there that could potentially put us into some trouble. So absolutely big brain there. We have another fossil dig for the follow-up. Totally going to let us just go through with it. I think I actually go for the Overraptor here because my goal was to search a baby. Or maybe I just go straight for the baby, actually. I do not remember here. Nope, we are going to go for the Overraptor. Just going to get the extra body on field because why not, you know? Basically, the Overraptor and the Searcher will just get us a Wyvern anyways, so it doesn't really matter too much. Basically, we're just going to use the Overraptor to then search a baby to have to pop off of the Archosaur, which is just absolutely awesome. All right, so looking at our hand here, we got a pretty full hand there, which is always great. Going to activate the misc now just so we can make sure our stuff stays unaffected. He is actually going to respond with the, I believe, the Solemn on that one. Kind of hard to tell. Let's get the card, but I think he, oh, maybe that was the Fiend Greed. He activated something, but I responded with the red reboot in hand. Always feels good to draw that one of against something like this. So basically this means that I am free to just combo off and absolutely kill this turn. Just felt so great getting that red reboot off the top. You don't see a lot of decks running it anymore because there's not as many traps in the format, which is why I do kind of side deck it. But it came in really, really clutch in this situation. I'm so glad that I had it. Sure, he's going to get a ton of advantage by having all this back row now, but in the end, it doesn't matter because we can just go straight for game. So it really does not make a difference. So our misc does resolve, and we're actually going to activate the Soul Eater, or summon this Soul Eater over after activate its effect to now be able to search our deck for the baby Ceratosaurus. So we did not already have a baby in hand, but that's totally fine. We're just going to net ourselves tons of advantage here with the dinosaur plays. That was one of the things I liked about the dinosaur package, is that it just gave you so much more to work with. But in the end, it actually kind of like prohibited a lot of plays, which is why I did end up cutting it. But for this game, it actually worked out really well. So we're going to banish the misc now to be able to summon the Animadorn Archosaur and pop the baby Ceratosaurus in our hand, meaning that we will get the double evolution kill first and then resolve the baby in a new chain, which is totally fine here. Gonna get my phone out of the way so you guys don't have to look at that. All right, so we're gonna add double Evo Pill to hand really quick. Just of course struggling to find it because one-ofs are always hard to find in a deck like this for whatever reason. And then now we get to use the baby Ceratosaurus to go ahead and summon out our Scrap Raptor from deck, which means that we have like full combo here. And I think I actually made a really smart play with my resource management, is I ended up using the Scrap Raptor's effect because I know it's unaffected by activated effects anyways. So I think I use him right away to go and get the Scrap Chimera and another normal summon. Who owns here? I'm kind of thinking on my plays. Yeah, there goes. Okay, looks like I'm gonna just kind of debating here. I think I was thinking my sequence through because of course it's combo, so you gotta kind of think a little bit ahead. So we're gonna flip some of these Scrap Searcher actually, which is gonna let us, let's see here, where are we going with this? And it's kind of hard to tell some days what my plays are because I don't know. I can't think about what I was thinking at the time because there's just so many things to think about that it's just kind of awkward. So okay. So we're actually going to use the scraps, or we're going to use the Scrap Raptor to pop the Scrap Searcher was actually our play here. I think I see exactly where this combo is going. So we're going to summon another Scrap Raptor because we had one in hand, so why not? Might as well just get the bonus bodies on field here. So basically now what we can do is we're going to overlay Intuitive Volzar Dolka just so we make sure that we have a monster negate. So we don't have to worry about anything like Nibiru on our non-dinosaur monsters or just anything like that. We can just stop hand traps. We can stop graveyard effects. Absolutely big brain play. So we're going to link two now into our Scrap Wyvern. That was honestly the other thing I liked about the dinosaur package, is that it was so easy to make an Volzar Dolka, and obviously it made it easier to make a Borreload Savage as well. All right, so we're going to Scrap Wyvern effect to summon back the Scrap Raptor, and now we will be able to search. Chainlink 1 the Wyvern, and then Chainlink 2 the Raptor. So the Raptor will be able to add us a Chimera to hand. We don't have another normal summon, unfortunately, because we did already use it, but that's fine. It means we have follow-up play in case something happens. And then now we can use the Scrap Golem after we're going to pop one of his, or pop his monster actually, because we just want to make sure that we can go in for game. So that is another backjack. He is just really good at getting those backjacks. All 3 games now we've seen that touchdown here. So gonna get the excavate effect, gets his deck stacked there, and is fully ready for the banishing effect to send to his graveyard. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and Golem now, and we are actually going to summon back the Raptor, just because we don't really care too much what we have. We're just gonna go for the Boral Sword and try to get game, because currently that would be 8,300 damage on field after we turn the Dolka into defense. So basically we have game on board. His only way of stopping me from getting through with this is potentially a monster, and we have an answer to that already. So that is kind of unfortunate for his sake here. I actually just realized I did not summon back the Scrap Searcher when I popped my Raptor, but that is totally fine. It's not like mandatory to do that. I just didn't. Well, actually, I know why I didn't, because I didn't want to pop the Dolka. So summoning the Ulti Conductor just to make sure we have bonus damage in case anything does happen. So we're actually going to attack in with the Boral Sword right off the bat. He's going to flip the Backjack and try to flip a Farfa into the graveyard. But of course, as soon as he activates effect, we are just going to respond with the Dolka, detaching the Overraptor and negating that effect so that we don't have to worry about anything. And he's just going to scoop. He realizes the math and it's like, yep, that is just it. So showing me his backer here. That was a good game today, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Scrap Toolbox being able to prove their worth against BA. Of course, I didn't mean around to get his life points to 0 just to flex. But thank you guys for joining in today. I really enjoyed this live duel, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot of remote duels with some of my YouTuber buddies. And if you guys haven't, please go check out From the Deck. I will have his YouTube link in the description. He is going to be a little bit inactive for the moment due to some stuff going on, but be sure to check out his content nonetheless. Absolutely wonderful guy, and I love all of his stuff. So thank you guys once again for joining in today. That's all I got for you. And remember, good fun. Have luck.